The CEO of Toyota just announced the death of an era. An era we've been waiting for a long time with anticipation. Let's be honest, the world was jumping on the electrification bandwagon, and just now we're realizing that it didn't work. That is why Toyota's big executive is making some bold predictions about EVs, saying they'll only get a 30% share. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. Companies are closing and the world is once again changing course. The EV industry is filled with a lot of problems, and there is nothing that can change what is happening now. Here's why. EVs are lacking in range. They cost an arm and a leg, and let's face it, who knows how to tinker with them if something goes bad? Finding a decent mechanic these days for your regular old cars is like searching for a needle in a haystack. Ever wondered what would happen if all cars went electric? Well, picture this. When your trusty ride breaks down, instead of fixing it, you're told to just get a new one? Cars are getting fancier, no doubt about it. But are the folks wrenching on them? They're not exactly the most convenient things right now. We need brainiacs to handle these smart machines, but that talent pool's looking pretty shallow. And don't even get me started on electronics. And get this, they're saying we'll need around 160,000 more experts in the market now, and in the next 6 to 7 years it'll only get higher. It is a job nobody's lining up for. Akio Toyota hit the nail on the head, but truth be told, that 30% share they mentioned might be wishful thinking. Let's face it, folks aren't exactly lining up for the electric car experience. Who has time to baby their ride? People just crave convenience, the kind that's hassle-free and lasts longer than what we have now. That is the whole point of technology. And let's be real, people are no longer impressed by EVs. Just ask a friend who's owned an EV for a long time, because now we all see these facts and figures. One of those reasons is reliability. EVs are dealing with a whopping 80% more issues compared to their gas-guzzling counterparts. It's a threefold challenge of high prices, limited range, and a shortage of charging stations. Then every winter comes, and it exasperates the situation, leaving EVs stranded in parking lots as owners desperately search for a working charging spot. Just look at Ford selling EVs at a whopping loss of $36,000 per car. Can you imagine? I mean, what kind of business strategy is that? Even the mighty Tesla, with all its futuristic and cool features, is slashing prices, and guess what? There are no takers. Dealerships are practically EV graveyards, with thousands of cars collecting dust. It takes an average of 92 days to sell an electric vehicle. That's way more than the industry's usual 60-day benchmark. Because for us ordinary folks, electric vehicles are not practical. They are expensive, they depreciate faster than any other asset, and the insurance policies are not even comparable. EVs are hitting our wallets where it hurts. On top of that, they're not even reliable. Let's be honest, this is just another new invention gone wrong. What else can we do about it except leave it alone? If something doesn't work, we just have to find another thing. But the problem is that EVs are not just new technology, they're weapons used by policymakers, and when issues get into the political realm, things get complicated. And who is suffering the most from that? Well, it's us, you and me, the consumers. But right next to us, the companies are the ones that take on the most damage. And if the government's plan is to bail them out, then you all know the drill. They get our taxpayers' money, it's the same story. But now there is a major plot twist. It will not be like before because, with all the challenges the economy is facing nowadays, this will be a very drastic thing. And if I'm being honest, there is a silver lining behind all of this. Let me explain. Tesla's rollercoaster ride in the stock market took a dive recently, wiping out a staggering $73 billion in market value. But wait, what went wrong was that investors typically follow the buy on rumor, sell on fact mantra. So when the hype of electric cars dominating the future echoed through the market, everyone jumped on board. But did anyone ask if this was turning into reality? No one did, and they should have, because it turns out it's not becoming a reality. With disappointing earning reports hitting the scene, Investors hit the panic button faster than the electrification trend. In just one day, $73 billion vanished into thin air. And here's the kicker. People are starting to question if electric vehicles are really the holy grail. Sure, they're flashy and futuristic, but where's the infrastructure to back them up? The United States government pledged a whopping $3 billion to erect charging stations. Guess what? As of a few months ago, there was nothing made. And as of today, only 2 stations are up and running. And let's be honest, when it comes to government initiatives, the track record isn't exactly stellar. It's a bit alarming, and as electric cars are settling in and making themselves comfy in the automotive landscape, we need to get serious because even the most obvious things are getting overlooked. I mean, if you ever needed a spare part for your EV, then you know you can't find them anywhere. Well, maybe online. But that is another cause of concern for many people, and even companies themselves. They're going out of business left and right, and that can only mean there is something seriously wrong. On top of that, a little accident to your EV will not only wreck the front motor, but also give the battery a good knock. And let me tell you, once that battery is damaged, you're looking at a hefty bill. We're talking about $20,000. And just like that, your investment vanishes, gone in a flash. This is because making a battery is hard, and making one for an EV is even harder. Plus, most of the rare earth material that we use for our EVs come from China, which is the biggest EV market in the world. China almost has a monopoly over the market. They control about 35% of the world's rare earth reserves and churn out over 80% of the global supply. But why am I talking about this? Well, as US companies start slashing production, we become less and less dependent on China. This is a big deal because China has already been using its position as a geopolitical tool to sway global dynamics or bolster its own interests. So, companies failing might not be all bad. But there is more. There is hope. Something better than both EVs and combustion cars. Here's what I mean. The craze for EVs was not just because they were eco-friendly. Some of it was because people didn't want to worry about the forever fluctuating gas price. And what the electrification trend showed us is that. So going back to the regular trusty combustion engines is just a temporary solution. And that also means being dependent on other countries that control the oil industry. So it's clear that we desperately need a solution, and to be honest, it's already here. But there is one major obstacle we need to figure out, and that is a way to convince the government. Instead of finding a solution or giving the green light to one we have, they want to act like everything is going great in the EV world. Even Wall Street is doing the same thing. GM, as we all know, has been struggling recently. But now reports are coming out claiming that they've outdone what the big shots on Wall Street predicted, forecasting a robust profit streak rolling into 2024. But wait, when they say beats Wall Street estimates, is it not just an estimate? Sure, there are people who are trained to predict the future of companies, but aren't they the ones who usually get into trouble for making false predictions? You see, in reality, this report doesn't mean anything at all. All they're after is getting you to funnel your cash into stocks, because, well, that's how they line their pockets, isn't it? And now they're singing praises for GM, painting their rosy picture of its future. But to be honest, GM's track record isn't exactly spotless. They've had their fair share of blunders, you know? Like dumping all their eggs into the electric car basket, and now realizing, surprise, surprise, nobody's really biting. Now, the main issue is that we're not addressing this fact as it truly is. But Toyota is finding a solution, and one of them is alternative fuels. Why? Well, it's simple. They give a second chance to combustion engines. These creative fuel choices could end up being more cost-effective to make than fully electric vehicles, while also delivering more power without releasing any emissions. Toyota has already made an engine, and they've even made a car that runs on it. To be specific, a car that is fueled by ammonia. Ammonia engines, offering low-carbon and cost-effective alternatives to fossil fuels, have the potential to reduce reliance on oil imports, cut air pollution, and kick out these overpriced, so-called modern EVs. So if you want to know more, we've already made a video on it, so check out our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.